Well, today we've traveled to the White House ruins here in the Dragoon Mountains, Coronado National Monument. Let's take a look around.
To get to White House ruins, you basically come down Arizona 80 to Middlemarch Road right outside Tombstone. Take a left, follow that till you get to the intersection of Forest Service Road 687, and just follow that for a couple miles. And I'll give GPS coordinates and directions and all that stuff in the description below. Another alternative on how to get there is to stop at Slavin Gulch Trailhead. If you want to make a day of it, you hike Slavin Gulch. That will take you to Council Rocks. And then from Council Rocks, after exploring that, you can go up to White House ruins and either bring yourself home by the trail or by the road to make a nice day trip. And I will recommend that if you're going through the effort to get to White House ruins, just 2 mile away, maybe at the most, is Council Rocks, which has petroglyphs and a very interesting story. And when I get that video made about Council Rocks, I'll drop in a card and put the link in the description so you can check that out at the same time. And I'd like to highly recommend, I'm going to give you a short little story about White House ruins. But Mellody in her blog did up a very nice story, gave it a lot of information, pictures, so I highly recommend you check that out. So what was the White House? The area was first settled by Charles Helm in partnership with 2 other guys. It was primarily a horse ranch, though some cattle were raised that they would then sell in Tombstone. It was successful from the start. Helms built the structure, which was a sprawling adobe known as the White House. Then in January 1882, 7 Apaches ran off with 28 horses from the Helm Ranch. Thinking they were rustlers, Helm and his men followed the trail to Guadalupe Canyon, where they wisely quit the trail. Then an interesting story. In the first week of July 1882, while in Tombstone, Helms got into an argument with William McCauley. The origin of the quarrel seems to be trivial in the extreme. Helm, McCauley, and Walter Hassel were driving some cattle, and a dispute arose as to the speed at which they should be driven. Helm favored rapid driving, and McCauley thought they should be driven slowly. The result of the argument was that Helms acquired a patch of daylight from breast to spine caused by McCauley's .44 caliber rifle. He died in Tombstone at age 34 just a day or 2 later. Helms is buried in Boot Hill, and William McCauley was never prosecuted for the crime. The Helm Ranch was next owned by Tombstone merchants William Tweed and Burkett Packard. Tweed took up residence in 1883. It was a regular stop for the Tombstone Dragoon stage. The Tweed-Packard Ranch was known as the Cochise Stronghold Ranch. It was then purchased in 1885 by the Kansas Cattle Company, later known as Tombstone Land and Cattle Company. It became a well-known destination for the Tombstone elites. The drought of 1891 to 92 ended the venture. The White House was abandoned and fell into ruin. Billy Ford took whatever lumber was left and used it on his spacious ranch to the north. This Billy Ford was the only one to precede Helms in settling the west side of the Dragoons. Up to the time of his death on January 9, 1935, the ranch was still his home. Besides a large run of cattle, the ranch supplied most of the apple, pears, and peaches used in southern Arizona. Billy Ford is buried in the cemetery in Benson, Arizona. This is going to be tough to say. Ford's 4F Ranch, established in 1879, was located 2 to 3 miles to the north and continues operations up to this time.
And I'm not quite sure. I will check the map. I think what we're looking at is Knob Hill, where supposedly at the top of it, Cochise put a white flag indicating that he was willing to parley with the United States military to try to find some sort of peace. I hope you found the video interesting. There wasn't a lot to see here, and most of it overgrown, but I think it's a nice little story about what the White House was in the past. And as I said, hope you enjoyed it, found it informative. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, notifications, that kind of stuff. And as usual, have yourself a blessed day.